Chapter 20. Turk barked, and the strange little dog pulled back her lips and showed him her teeth. "What kind of a dog is that?" Auggie asked. "And why doesn't it have any fur?" "It's called a Chinese crested. I got it at the pet stop. Her name is Fuzzy." "That's a pretty strange name for a bald dog," Auggie said. Danica turned to Brad. "Didn't I tell you she was perfect?" she asked. "Like Turk, only turkier," Brad laughed. "What's that supposed to mean?" asked Auggie. But instead of answering, Brad hurried outside, returning a minute later with a big wooden box. Auggie took one side of the heavy box and helped carry it into the living room, where they put it down on the coffee table. "Phew, that sure is heavy. What's in there?" "Cheese," Brad told him. "Cheese?" said Auggie. "But it weighs a ton." 75 pounds, said Brad. "You bought 75 pounds of cheese?" Auggie couldn't believe it. "Actually, I bought 150 pounds. There's another box just like this one out in the car." "Why do you need so much?" Auggie asked. "Do you want to explain?" Brad asked Danica. "It's like cheese, only cheesier," Danica said. Auggie groaned and flopped down on the couch. "Can somebody please tell me what's going on?" he said. So Danica and Brad explained to Auggie the studio's concerns about people burning out on Auggie fever. "You don't want to be old news, do you?" Danica said. But before Auggie could tell her that he wouldn't mind being old news, if it meant he could take a break from all the speed charving she'd been making him do, the doorbell rang. "That must be LaRue," said Brad. "Who's LaRue?" asked Auggie. Brad opened the door, and a tall woman in a gold jumpsuit and a turban breezed into the house. She was holding several large garment bags and a styrofoam head with a curly red wig on it. "Which one is Oogie?" she purred, looking around the room. Actually, it's Auggie," Auggie told her, "with 2 G's, not 2 O's. LaRue is a costume designer I happen to know in the area," Brad explained. "She's been kind enough to agree to help us with your new look." "New look?" said Auggie. "I thought you said I looked okay the way I was." "That was before. This is now," said Danica. Turk, who normally loved having company in the house, was lying under the coffee table nervously looking up at Fuzzy, who was sitting on a throw pillow on the couch licking herself. "I must see this chooving thing before I can pick the outfit," said LaRue. "Do you mean charving?" asked Auggie. LaRue pulled a tape measure out of the pocket of her jumpsuit and began to measure Auggie. "Hush, Auggie," she said, pressing a long finger up to her lips. "No worries. LaRue will find something yummy for you." While LaRue measured, Brad opened the wooden box, revealing a giant chunk of cheddar cheese. "How am I supposed to charve that?" asked Auggie. "It's not even sliced." "I told you," said Danica. "No more slices. We're going bigger." "Much bigger," said Brad. "Are you ready for this?" "You're going to be charving Mount Rushmore." "Mount Rushmore!" cried Auggie. "It'll be easy," said Danica. "You already know how to do all those presidents, remember?" "I'm ready to see the chooving now," said LaRue, putting her tape measure away. "Show me the chooving, Oogie." Auggie's head was spinning. Things were happening so fast. "Ouch!" he exclaimed, as his stomach pinched sharply. "Come on," said Danica, pulling out her stopwatch. "We don't have much time left. You have to practice." "I don't even remember what Mount Rushmore looks like," Auggie protested. "Don't worry," Brad told him. "I picked up a book about famous American landmarks. There's a picture of Mount Rushmore on page 33. "I don't know about this," said Auggie uncertainly. eyeing the huge piece of cheese sitting on the table in front of him. "Trust me," said Donica. Augie's stomach pinched again. As Augie had suspected, carving Mount Rushmore turned out to be much more challenging than Donica and Brad had made it out to be. For one thing, cheddar cheese had a different texture from American cheese. It was more apt to crumble, which was why Abraham Lincoln's nose and George Washington's eyebrows kept falling off. Turk enjoyed gobbling up the scraps of cheese as they fell on the floor, but Augie was miserable. "Stop!" shouted LaRue, who had been perched on the arm of a chair nearby, taking notes the whole time. "I see yellow." Augie immediately looked at the rug to see if Turk had had an accident, but LaRue was talking about the clothes she wanted Augie to wear. "No more chewing now, Oogie. Time for LaRue to make you yummy." Turk tried to join them as Augie followed LaRue into the guest room, but LaRue pushed Turk away with her foot and closed the door in his face. "I'm thinking knickers," LaRue said, unzipping one of her bags. "Knickers?" said Augie. "Yummy yellow knickers," said LaRue. Augie had no idea what she was talking about. "Can I still wear my shoelaces?" he asked. "They're pretty yummy, don't you think?" LaRue looked at Augie's feet and frowned. "No," she said. "No, no, no." "What about striped pants?" asked Augie. "Or maybe a checkered shirt. I'd be comfortable in those." But Augie's new look was not going to have stripes or checks. It was going to have yummy yellow knickers as the final pieces of the Let's Make Augie Augier plan fell into place. Augie's stomach pinched harder, and he wondered how much more he could take.